Hello, YouTube family and friends. It is Mama Robin, and I have been gone for a while. But I am back tonight, and it is Watts Wednesday, and it is the anniversary of that horrible, tragic day. So I will be doing a retrospective on the case from disappearance to conviction. This one will be probably one of the longest videos I've ever done. And I am reading from another source that is beneath my phone. So I will probably be looking down a lot, and I do apologize. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it because this is going to take a minute. And the reason why I want to do a retrospective is simply because while most of us know this case frontwards, backwards, and sideways, some of us do not. Number one. And number two, some of us who even know it well have forgotten things. There's things that we've forgotten. So I have done a deep dive. And I've titled this A Retrospective on Chris Watts Case from Disappearance to Conviction. Part 1, Introduction. The disappearance that shocked a nation. So just bear with me. Okay. The Chris Watts case stands as a chilling and widely publicized instance of familicide, a tragedy that unfolded on August 13th, 7 years ago today, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado. The victims were Shanann Watts, who was 15 weeks pregnant with their son, Nico, and their two young daughters, Bella, age 4, and Celeste, age 3. Their lives were brutally ended by Christopher Lee Watts, Shanann's husband and the girl's father. The events of that fateful day began in early hours of 1:48 a.m. when Shanann returned home from a business trip to Arizona. She was driven home by her friend and co-worker, Nicole Atkinson. Chris Watts was already present in the house with their daughters. Later that same day, a critical sequence of events was set into motion by Atkinson. She grew concerned when Shanann had failed to respond to a text message or to text messages, and more alarmingly had missed an important prenatal appointment, something that Shanann would have not have missed. Subsequently, she contacted Chris Watts at his workplace and alerted the Frederick Police Department, initiating a welfare check on the family. Upon the arrival of law enforcement, Watts granted them permission to search the home. Inside, police discovered several items that immediately raised suspicion. Shanann's purse containing her car keys and her phone, her lupus medication, which Atkinson emphasized Shanann would never have left behind. Her car with the girls' car seats was still in the garage. Her wedding ring conspicuously placed on the couple's bed, which, that's odd. You know what I mean? These findings suggested an unlikely voluntary departure. The severity of the situation escalated quickly, leading to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, to join the inquiry the following day, issuing, and I read over this the day I did this, so, I'm sorry, I apologize. But I lost my place when I looked back, or when I looked away. And issuing the endangered missing person alerts for Shanann and her daughters. The disappearance rapidly gained national and international media attention, significantly amplified by Chris Watts' public appeals for his family's return. He appeared on his porch expressing sorrow and longing for a simple family moment, such as telling his girls to eat dinner. This televised plea, later revealed to be a calculated deception, profoundly contributed to the widespread shock and outrage that ensued as the true nature of the events came to light. A critical examination of the Watts' initial public statements reveals a profound attempt to manipulate public perception and control the unfolding narrative, because he wanted people to believe that she just got mad and left. I've been saying that since the beginning, and I stick to that. While he publicly lamented his family's absence, expressing a longing for their return, these actions occurred shortly after he had murdered them. The stark contradiction in behavior points to a sophisticated and calculated effort to deflect suspicion. Forensic behavioral experts, such as former FBI profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole, noted the highly unusual confidence Watts displayed in attempting to mislead a national and international audience, suggesting a significant degree of arrogance. His interviews were marked by a noticeable absence of genuine emotional distress or empathy for his missing wife or his daughters. Instead, his focus remained on his own discomfort. Oh, woe is me, I'm so broken up, I miss my baby so much. Instead of, oh my God, where are my children? It was all about him. His own discomfort describing the house is not the same and traumatic. The self-centered perspective, rather than the concern for his family's well-being, served as a crucial indicator to experienced investigators. Far from diverting attention, Watts' contradictory statements, such as calling the situation a nightmare, while simultaneously claiming complete ignorance of what occurred, and his overall demeanor and inadvertently signaled him as the primary suspect, thereby accelerating the investigation towards the uncovering of his culpability. Part 2. The family background and mounting pressures. To understand the context of the Watts family tragedy, it's essential to examine the underlying personal and financial dynamics that preceded the murders. Christopher Lee Watts, born May 16, 1985, and Shanann Catherine Ruzick, born January 10, 1984, met in 2010 and married on November 3, 2012, in the Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. Their family grew with the birth of their two daughters, Bella Marie Watts, born December 17, 2013, and Celeste Catherine Watts, born on July 17, 2015. Both girls tragically murdered on August 13, 2018, 7 years ago today. At the time of the death, Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant with their unborn son, whom they had already named Nico. The family resided in a 5-bedroom home at 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado, which they had purchased in 2013 and was valued at approximately $400,000. Christopher Watts was employed by Anadarko Petroleum, and Shanann worked as a sales representative for Lavelle, a multi-marketing company. Despite a combined income of approximately $100,000, the couple faced significant financial difficulties. In 2015, they sought a Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection, reporting liabilities totaling $450,000. The history of substantial financial strain with the household suggests a persistent source of stress. A critical factor that's significant, but I am not saying it any way, in any form, even though there was financial strain, that she was at fault for her own death. I am not implying that at all. You know how I feel about that anyway. The critical factor significantly contributed to the murders was Chris Watts' extramarital affair with co-worker Nicole Kessinger, the spicy empanada, Tricky Nikki. Kessinger was reportedly unaware that Watts was still married and fully cooperated with she didn't fully cooperate. That's the report that when I was writing this, I was literally reading what was presented to me, and I was writing this down. Everybody knows that she didn't cooperate fully. What's his face? I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. Everybody hates him. The DA there. The DA said, "Oh, she cooperated." No, she didn't. And that is what the report that I was reading stated, and that's what I took down. Sorry. I apologize. Kessinger was well aware. Watts himself later acknowledged that his relationship with Kessinger contributed to the murders, stating that he would not have perceived his marriage with Shanann as problematic had he not met her. Now, we know that he has said this before. We know that he has said that he didn't think it was that bad until he met her. After he met her, he was like, "Oh, well, my marriage with Shanann sucks, so whatever." The affair served as a primary underlying motivation as Watts sought to escape his existing family obligations to pursue a new life with Kessinger. The confrontation that occurred on the morning of the murders was directly related to his infidelity. Shanann reportedly confronted Watts about his affair and threatened that he would never going to see the kids again, pleading with him to get off me, don't hurt the baby. We've talked about this, how he was on her. But see, we've also talked about the fact that that doesn't make sense either, because there was, to my knowledge, and this has been an argument amongst people, I get it. To my knowledge, there should have been some sort of bodily fluid somewhere on the mattress or something, if she was killed at home in bed, like he said. But there's people that argue that I'm wrong, and I might be. I don't know. I feel like there should be, but whatever. Don't hurt the baby. This confrontation immediately preceded Shanann's strangulation. The confluence of financial strain and infidelity played a significant role in the tragic outcome. While the affair provided was immediate for the confrontation and subsequent violence, the pre-existing financial distress likely created a highly stressful, desperate environment for Watts. I do agree, and I've always agreed, that the finances played a role in what he did, and because we've talked about the family dynamics before, and I agree that it played a small role in it, but I do not believe that's why she was killed. I believe it might have played a role in it. It was part of why, but the biggest thing was that he wanted to be alone with Nicole, and I believe that, and I've said this a million times, I believe it in his mind, it was easier to kill her than it was to divorce her. Because then he could play my wife left me and she took the kids with her and they don't love me anymore and here I am, I'm all alone, woe's me, poor Chris. And if he can convince everybody that Shanann left and took the kids, he then gets all the attention that he wants from the friends and the family going, "Oh, poor Chris, you poor baby." And at the same time, he still has a girlfriend, Nicole, his co-worker, the girl he met at work, that's been there to comfort him. That's what he gets from this. Fine. Stressful disputes of Watts. The financial burden combined with the emotional and rational burden, relational burden of the failing marriage may have led him to perceive his family not as a unit to be supported or problems to be constructively solved, but as an overwhelming obstacle to the personal freedom that he desired in the new life. The affair then presented an idealized escape for the combined pressure. These combination of factors is a common pattern observed with some familicide cases, where the perpetrator seeks to eliminate all the ties perceived failed or burdensome life. Now, here's the thing. The Chris Watts case reminds a lot of people of the Scott Peterson case, and it does me too. But the other case that it reminds me of is John List. And I've talked about John List before on Friday nights and stuff when we talked about things like this. So, the John List case, he killed his wife and his kids and left. He actually got by with it for X amount of years. Left the state, moved to another state, took on a new identity, worked, had a new relationship, and then all of a sudden, years later, America's Most Wanted does a bust of him, and somebody goes, I know who that man is, and it turned out to be John List. So there's things of the John List case that if you know the John List case, you'll understand why the Chris Watts case and the John List case to me are also very similar. Because John List felt like his family were a burden. They were a burden, and he wanted to get rid of the burden. But anyway, since there's a lot here, let me go onward. Combined pressure, fail to burden some life. This suggests a profound inability to cope with adversity in a healthy manner. The pattern of behavior points to highly selfish and avoidant personality. Rather than addressing the financial difficulties or seeking financial counseling or taking on more work or confronting marital problems through divorce or counseling in pro-social ways, Watts resorted to an extreme destructive solution that indicates the deep-seated pathology where the perceived obstacles are eliminated rather than confronted or negotiated. The affair became the perceived solution to all his problems, and his family, particularly the children, became the ultimate barrier to the perceived freedom. So within his relationship with Nicole, he found freedom. He saw his wife and his children the barriers to that freedom, which I totally believe that's how he felt about it. Part 3, that fateful morning, August 13, 2018. The morning of August 13, 2018, marked by a horrific culmination of pressure building within Chris Watts' life. Shanann returned home from her business trip around 1:48 a.m. on Monday. Chris was already present in the house with the daughters. Watts later confessed to strangling Shanann in their bed following an argument about his affair. He claimed that he snapped and was enraged after Shanann confronted him about his infidelity and threatened he was never going to see the kids again and pleaded, "Don't hurt the baby." Following Shanann's murder, Watts stated that he took out his anger on everyone in front of him that morning, leading to the deaths of his 2 young daughters. Disturbingly, Bella reportedly walked into the room and saw her mother's body and innocently asked, "What's wrong with Mommy?" Watts then carried Shanann's body wrapped in a sheet to his work truck and drove Bella and Celeste to Anadarko oil work site. Now, some of us question on that's whether or not that really happened. I don't believe that's the way it happened. That's the way the story is reported. We have discussed many times, many ways. I personally think he killed Shanann. He took Celeste and Bella in the truck to the site, and he put them in the oil batteries. I think that Nicole, with the help of her friend Jim, leave Jim alone, with the help of her friend Jim, took Shanann, and I think that's why the grave that was dug for her was so shallow and so sloppy, and the sheet was just left laying. I believe she was like, I dug a grave, threw her body in there, put some dirt on it, and walked away from it. I don't believe she gave a shit at all about it. Which means she didn't give a shit if he got caught or not. But anyway, wrapped in a sheet to his work and drove Bella and Celeste to Anadarko oil worksite, approximately 40 miles east of the Frederick home. At the remote website, the girls asked, "What are you doing to Mommy?" Watts first suffocated Celeste with a blanket in the back seat and then of the truck, and then, while Bella watched. And then he disposed of Celeste's body by dumping her into a crude oil storage tank. Bella then asked her father, "Is the same thing going to happen to me that happened to Cece?" Watts proceeded to suffocate Bella with the same blanket as she fought for her little life. He then threw Bella's body into a separate oil tank. Finally, he buried Shanann's body in a shallow grave nearby the Orange oil storage facility. Surveillance footage captured by a neighbor's security camera in the early morning hours of August 13th showed Chris, after the murders, loading a gas can into the bed of the pickup truck and then backing the vehicle into the garage, which is something he never had done before. Like, he was not allowed to do that, and all of a sudden he's doing that. Immediately after the murders, Watts initiated a campaign of deception. Initially denying any and all knowledge of his family's whereabouts to both police and the public. He granted police permission to search his house during the welfare check, maintained a facade of cooperation and concern. His televised pleas for the family's return were later identified by experts as highly manipulative, arrogant, and devoid of any genuine empathy, designed to divert suspicion. He initially fabricated a story claiming that Shanann had killed the girls in a fit of rage after he asked for a divorce, and then he killed Shanann in the response. He later admitted that this was a lie, a narrative he went with after it was suggested to him during the interrogation, which was one of the things that made so many people so mad at Tammy Lee, or whatever the fuck her name was, after suggesting that Shanann did something. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take that story. Shanann did something, and then I did something back." The progression of violence on August 13, 2018, from the strangulation of Shanann to the systematic suffocation of his daughters, reveals a chilling escalation. Watts' initial claim of snapping in a fit of rage is contradicted by the methodical and sequential nature of his subsequent actions. The act of killing Shanann, rather than being an isolated impulsive act, appears to have served as a gateway to further more calculated violence aimed at eliminating all the loose ends or witnesses to his crime. Since the girls were a barrier and they were loose ends and they were witnesses, they had to go. Like, they had to go. Witness to the crime. The fact that the children were alive during the drive to the disposal site, then proceeded to suffocate them individually while the other watched, indicates a chilling level of premeditation and a profound dehumanization of his own children. His later statement, "I just felt like they were already something on my mind. I wasn't planning it, but I was going to do it. I woke up that morning and it was going to happen. I had no control over it," can be interpreted as a self-serving rationalization, an attempt to externalize blame and deny agency. The heartbreaking pleas from his daughters, "Daddy, no, and the same going to happen to me as Cece," underscore the conscious and terrifying nature of his actions, making his claims of not thinking even more indicative of his own manipulative and detached state. In order for him to be that manipulative and that detached, he would have to be completely narcissistic. I've had this discussion many times. You all know how I feel about it. He was a narcissist. That's why none of this shit that he should have done made any sense in his brain. He was a complete fucking utter mess. The pattern is consistent with perpetrators who view their victims more as obstacles to their desires rather than individuals with inherent worth and rights. The rage narrative is a common post hoc justification for crimes of passion, but the systematic disposal and sequential murders of the children contradict a purely impulsive act. It suggests a premeditated intent to eliminate his entire family to facilitate his new life, even if the exact how was improvised in the moment. Just because it was improvised in the moment does not mean in the slightest that it wasn't premeditated. Section 4, the investigation unfolds, confessions, and discovery. The investigation to the disappearance of Shanann Watts and the daughters rapidly intensified, driven by suspicious circumstances and Chris Watts' evolving narrative. Nicole Atkinson, Shanann's friend and co-worker, played a pivotal role in initiating the inquiry. Her growing concern over Shanann's missed prenatal appointment and unanswered messages prompted her to visit the Watts residence and subsequently contact both law enforcement and Chris Watts. Atkinson's persistence in her crucial observation that Shanann would never leave without her lupus medication was instrumental in establishing early suspicions about the nature of the disappearance. A Frederick police officer arrived at the Watts residence around 1:40 p.m. on August 13, 2018, where Chris Watts met them after leaving work. Watts granted permission to search of the house. Shanann's purse and keys and phone and lupus medication, her car with the girls' car seats in the garage, and her wedding ring on the couple's bed. These items, particularly the medication, strongly suggested an unlikely voluntary departure. A detective also observed that the master bedroom had been stripped of its bedding, a detail that would later align with Watts' confession. The gravity of the situation prompted the FBI and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, to join the investigation the following day, issuing the endangered missing persons alerts for all three. Watts' statements to the investigators were characterized by a series of evolving and contradictory accounts. He initially maintained his innocence, denying any knowledge of the family's whereabouts. Under increasing pressure, he later confessed to killing Shanann, but fabricated a story claiming that she'd killed the daughters in a fit of rage and he killed her in response. This was his initial partial confession, strategically designed to shift blame for the children's deaths. He eventually admitted to killing his daughters by smothering them with a blanket. This was his first full confession, providing disturbing details on the murders of all three, including the girls' suffocation and their last words. Came during a prison interview in February 18, 2019. In this interview, he explicitly admitted that the prior story about Shanann killing the girls was a lie, and that he went with it after one of the investigators suggested to him during the interrogation. As where he said, Tammy Lee or whatever her name was one that started that with him, and he just kind of went with it, like, yeah, that's what we're doing here. The progression of Watts' confession demonstrates a clear strategic attempt to control the legal outcome of the public perception. His desperate, albeit common, defense mechanism aimed at invoking the heat of passion defense for Shanann's death and minimizing his culpability for the universally commended act of child murder. His later admission to the false narrative was suggested to him during an interrogation is crucial. It reveals his willingness to adopt to any plausible story, even a monstrous one, it serves his self-interest. The eventual full conviction given after his sentencing could be interpreted as an attempt to gain some control over the truth, or perhaps as delayed, albeit superficial, manifestation of guilt, or even a strategic move to improve the prison conditions or public image. The inconsistencies and calculated nature of his narratives are vital for forensic analysis. They reveal a personality profoundly prone to deception and self-preservation, rather than one of genuine remorse. The methodical and horrific disposal of the bodies, particularly the girls being forced into the crude oil tanks, further contradicts any claim of impulsive rage. Instead of highlighting a chillingly pragmatic, cold, and dehumanizing approach to the victims, the pattern of behavior approach to the pattern. Wait a minute. The pattern of behavior underscores the deep-seated manipulative traits identified by profilers. Watts was arrested on August 15, 2018, after confessing to murdering Shanann. He subsequently marked the precise locations of the bodies on the photograph of the oil field for the investigators. The bodies were tragically discovered on August 16, 2018, at approximately 11 p.m. Shanann's body was found buried in the shallow grave near oil storage facility. The bodies of Belle and Celeste were found in separate crude oil storage tanks. A particularly gruesome detail that shocked the public. Shanann was murdered by strangulation. Bella, age 4, and Celeste, age 3, were murdered by suffocation, with Watts using a blanket. The disposable methods burying Shanann and dumping the girls in crude oil tanks were not only an attempt to conceal the crime, but also indicative of the perpetrator's extreme depravity and dehumanization of the victims. Key timeline of events. August 13, 2018, Shanann Watts returns home. Murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste occur. August 13, 2018, later that day, Shanann and daughters reported missing by Nicole Atkinson. Police welfare check initiated. August 15, 2018, Chris Watts arrested, initially confesses to killing Shanann, falsely blaming her for the girls' deaths. August 16th, bodies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste discovered at Anadarko oil field. November 6, 2018, Chris Watts pleads guilty to all charges as part of a plea deal. November 19, 2018, Chris Watts sentenced to multiple life sentences without parole. December 13, 2018, Watts transferred from Colorado to Dodge Correctional Institution in Wisconsin. And February 18, 2019, Watts provides his first full confession detailing all murders in the prison. The next part of this is the legal proceedings and sentencing. I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. This video has become a little longer than I originally anticipated. We all know that I'll cover a little bit of it, and then I'll probably skip over the rest of it. Following the gruesome discovery of the bodies, Watts' initial confession, a comprehensive list of felony charges was brought against him, reflecting the full scope of his heinous crimes. These charges included 5 counts of first-degree murder, covering the deaths of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, 2 additional counts specifically for the deaths of Bella and Celeste due to victims being under the age of 12, and the killer was in a position of trust. He was also charged with 1 count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy for the death of his unborn son Nico. Furthermore, 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body were also filed, addressing the actions and disposing of Shanann's remains in a shallow grave, dumping the girls' bodies in crude oil storage. We're going to skip that. I've already went over all that. Section 5, Psychological and Behavioral Analysis. Expert analysis of Chris Watts' behavior and statements provides critical perspectives on his psychological profile, particularly his demeanor, apparent lack of empathy, and pervasive selfish thinking style. If you know anything, like if you truly have learned anything about narcissists, that fits them to a T. They have no empathy whatsoever. None. They have no empathy. They have no care. The only thing they care about is themselves. Self-preservation is their number one goal, and they will lie, manipulate, gaslight. They will do anything and everything to protect themselves. And if he thought this would work, he thought, okay, well, if I can make it look like they ran away from home, then I look good and they look like shit. And that's all he cared about. That is literally all that man cared about. He cared about nothing else. Former FBI senior profiler and forensic behavioral expert Mary Ellen O'Toole offered crucial insights to the Watts' public conduct. She characterized his televised plea for his family's return as demonstrating arrogance and lack of empathy. O'Toole highlighted the very unusual nature of his ability to be very sure of your own interpersonal skills, that you can attempt to fool a national and international audience, attributing it to a lot of arrogance and confidence. She specifically noted a noticeable absence of emotional behavior or words of emotion for Shanann and the girls during the empty house. And self-referential concern rather than genuine worry for his family. O'Toole said that he had a selfish thinking style, suggesting that he was likely exhibiting similar behaviors before the uncharacteristic fit of rage. His defensive posture, such as crossing his arms, was observed during the interviews. Watts' progression from outright denial to blaming Shanann for the girls' deaths and ultimately to a full confession consistently demonstrated a calculated effort to control the narrative. So that goes on for a minute. And then the rest of this report talks about public reaction, and we all know what it is because we've all lived it. Some people think that Chris is innocent. Some people think he's guilty. Some people think Nicole helped him a little bit. Some people think that Chris helped him a lot. And then some people have these weird theories about explosions and kidnapping and God, I don't remember the whole story on that one. There are so many different theories out there. And there's always going to be different theories out there because he's never fully told everything. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say this. I think if anybody is close to knowing the whole truth, and they don't know the whole truth either because Chris is never going to tell the whole truth. But if anybody is ever close to knowing the whole truth, it's Dylan. It's Dylan. I believe that with all my heart. I've discussed this a million times. It is Dylan. There's another section that talks about his incarceration and his life behind bars. He's at the correctional place there in Wisconsin. He's eats cake and has gained weight. Apparently has a girlfriend and or / a fiance. I'm not sure on that one. He thinks he's a good man. He's got some people convinced he's a good man. Not me, but he's got some people convinced he's a good man. He has had one friend the whole time he's been in prison, and that was Dylan. He's had other people talk about him, other prisoners talk about him. There's been videos about that. Real Killers actually does a couple good videos about that. I just wanted to do a nice thing about kind of just covering the case again from beginning to end. I know I wasn't here last week, and I am walking away for a little while. I'm not leaving YouTube permanently. I'm really not leaving it fully. I'm taking a small break. But I wanted to I wanted to begin my break with this video. This was the video I wanted to do to begin my break with. I want to take some time off for myself. I want to figure some things out. I want to learn some things along the way that I feel like I need to learn to make this a better channel for everyone. I really jumped into this thinking that, no, I don't know what I'm doing exactly, but I'll figure it as I go along, and I haven't been able to do that. I haven't been able to take the time. So this is definitely not the last video for me. It is the last one for a little while. Like I said, I need to figure some things out in my personal life, my life on here. I need to take some time to learn a few things. I want to come back stronger and better than before. I want to come back with some knowledge. I want to come back with some education. I want to come back with a better understanding of some things. And I can't do it while I'm doing it. Some people can work and learn at the same time. I am apparently not one of those people. Because when I first started this, I thought, well, you know what? I don't know much about what I'm doing. I'll get in here, I'll talk about what I know, and da-da-da-da-da, and everything will be fine. And it's not. I'm not happy with my current work. And I don't think you all either. I do appreciate all my subscribers. I hope you stick around. I do, because I plan on coming back stronger and better. But for right now, I wanted to make, before I take my break, I wanted this video, the video I just did tonight, the video about Chris Watts, the beginning all the way into the end. I wanted that to be the video I do last. I wanted that to be the video that the last video you see from me for a while. And I'm not leaving permanently, and I'm only taking a small break, and I'm not even going to be completely gone. I'll pop in from time to time. I will pop in if I have a Watts video I want to cover real quick. I'll pop in and do it. May not be on a Wednesday, but I'll pop in and do it. If I have something new on Lady Bird Lake, may not be Friday night, but I'll pop in and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a lot going on with me right now. And I need to take time for that. But I also want to take time to do some learning and just make this a better channel. I can't do both at the same time right now. I really can't. I am fine. And even though this video is a very long video, especially for me, with my limited resources, I hope you've enjoyed what I presented. Obviously, if you have questions, comments, compliments, insults, whatever, you're going to leave them in the comments, and that's what I want you to do. I want the people who watch my videos to feel comfortable to approach me and say, hey, you know, this video was okay, but I think it could have been better if you had done such and such. If you just want to discuss the case itself, that's always been an option with me. I like interacting with my subscribers. I think it's great when y'all interact. You can tell me that I suck without being rude. And for the most part, you guys have. I have had some really great conversations with my subscribers. And I would like that to continue. As I said, this break for me is partly personal journey, partly learning, while actually getting a new computer, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, and then learning how to do some things to make this channel a better channel, to make my videos better videos. The stuff is up here in my head. I know what I want to do with the channel. I don't know how to do it. So part of this is going to be personal stuff, and part of it's going to be learning more and growing the channel, making it a better channel. So with all that being said, this is my last one for a while. Like I said, I will pop in occasionally. If there's a Watts video I want to get out, I'll go ahead and upload it. It might not be on a Wednesday, but I will upload it. If there's something on Friday on the Lady Bird Lake, I'll hop in and get that done. Won't be a Friday night. It definitely won't be a live. It might not even be a Friday night, but I will get in and get it done. I'm not counting on anything new because most of those tend to happen in late fall, early winter. Some of them tend to happen maybe even late winter, early spring. But the heat of summer, we don't usually seem to have problems with it for whatever reason. So I don't expect any more updates on that for quite a while. if one happens, I'll be right back. But in the meantime, I am here. I do still want to do this. I just need to take some time. You can always leave me messages. You can leave me comments. You can leave questions. I've given a few of you my email address for YouTube. I've not heard from anybody, so if you've had my email address and you sent me an email, I didn't get it. So let me know in the comments if you need it again, and I'll give it to you again. It's a very long email. It's very hard to get down the first time. So for those of you who have asked for it and I've given it to you, I've not heard from you. I'm sorry. Hit me up again and we'll try again. But yeah, this is the last video I'm doing for a while. Unless something comes up. Unless I get some news about Chris Watts, it's the last thing for a while. And my personal life has not been bad. Everything's fine. But it's been really busy. So I need some time to deal with that too. Okay? So everybody take care. Happy birthday if it's your birthday and I've missed it. Happy birthday. If it's your anniversary and I missed it. Happy anniversary. I am here. This is just a little break. Won't be long at all. I just want to get some things done first. So, Mama Robin loves you. I am here. I will always be here. Even if you don't see me, I'll be around. Just leave me a comment somewhere. I'll find it. I'll read it. And I'll take care of it. All right? Anyway, in the meantime, y'all, take care. I love you. And I hope you find this video to at the very least be informative if you didn't before.